What's up, reefers? It's Mike, main reef, Fluval Evo 13.5. I had a question on what the new wave maker is. It is a hygger cross flow, gyre style. I basically I don't even want to call it an issue because it's hard to, people would be like, oh, that's an issue. But what was going on is the the main flow comes from this hygger right here, which is just a wave maker. It's small, compact, little guy, and my return. So all the flow is pushing this way, which causes all the coral to grow towards that, which is not like a huge issue, but you can kind of see it a little bit, not a lot. Let me see if I can't help this out a little bit. Let's up the light. I'll go down one right there. But this stylo, you can see it was growing towards the pump because that's where all the flow was coming from. The green slimer was shooting, and the polyps also started to almost like curve the I don't even know what to call them, but where the polyps sit in started to curve towards where the flow is coming from, and that was maxed out, and that's an upgraded pump. So I said, well, one of my biggest primary things I want to do with this system is turn it into a SPS dominated system, which I guess in a way it's kind of halfway there already. But I decided, well, I'll see if I can't find the hygger crossflow to be able to shoot like a laminar flow across the tank over here. They were out of stock everywhere on like Amazon and stuff. Jabao, I think, makes one. It's the exact same thing. Same controller and everything. But I was dead set on having a hygger for the same reason that I had this one. It's the same exact company, so I said, well, screw it. I'll just keep it hygger. Excuse me. The cross flow, I believe, is 1850 gallons per hour, and it probably does all of that and then some. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have it on setting 5 right now, which is like a pulse, like a really short pulse, and it's set to 40%, I believe. So every time you see these zoas in here kind of like, move really hard, that's the pulse coming from the gyre. And again, it was just to be able to create more of a random flow from this way, like going from this side to this side. It also helps pull more of the skim up top into the weir. It's a super, it doesn't have like any crazy gadgets. You have 5 different patterns that you get to choose from. You have a short pulse, which is like boom, 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 which is number 1. You have the wave mode, which is number 2. Number 3 is constant. And then number 4 is random, what they would call random. And number 5 is the super short, or I should say longer pulse. So it's got a long gap between its pulse. That's the one I went with, mostly because if you if you do anything else in this tank, it literally it will rip the flesh right off of stuff. That's how much power that little thing has. This is much more softer about it. It kind of just does like a huge, broad, I guess you would say like fan out, which is what I wanted. I want that big flow, but I also want something to be able to just shoot across to be able to hit these other side of the coral with some flow. So far it's been great. It's pretty simple to take apart. The end caps pop off and it's like rubber insulated in there. It is a little louder than like say this one, but I mean, we're sitting right next to it and you can't hear it. What you can hear is you can hear the cops going by outside, which they're probably, I don't know, 300-400 yards away. So it's not super loud, but it's something that I noticed. But yeah, cranking it up is not the way to go on this system, but that's okay because I can use it for probably something down the road. It's also adjustable, so you can like tilt it forward, up and down, you know, change the flow like down here or up there. It's almost perfectly level right now. I got a little bit tilted forward, just so that I can get like the little burst that goes across. Everything seems to be liking it at the moment. My jawbreaker is a little pissed off, not happy, but that's okay. He was tucked way inside that rock for the longest time with just this guy on. So he's kind of walking out a little bit, and the flow right here is not super intense, as you can see. Like, these zoas aren't going crazy. These ones look like they're flowing a lot, but they also stick out probably that far away from the rock. I'd say at least an inch, so they get a lot of movement. But yeah, I mean, did I absolutely need it? Probably not. I probably could have taken this guy right here and put him on this side and then been able to like have them hitting each other. Excuse me. To have like that random both sides being hit kind of thing. But I got this thing for, I think it goes like $60 brand new. I got it for like 45 on eBay with shipping, used, and it didn't even look like it had ever been used. I think it was just like open box, but but yeah, it's the Hygger Crossflow 1850, I believe, is the gallons per hour, and so far so good. Again, you got to be careful with it. It's a lot of dialing in. I made a video the other day. It was like an hour or so, like of just chasing to see where everything would be. Because, you know, when you put another flow, wave maker, gyre, whatever you do for flow, which is super important in a reef tank, you'd be surprised at how much some of these corals can take for flow and be relatively happy. Like, this is a SPS, quote-unquote SPS system now. I mean, you got a Monty, the Slimer, Stylo, Garf, Oregon Tort, not sure what that one is, another Acro, Forest Fire Digi, Bird's Nest in the back, you can't really see it, right there. I got the Bubblegum Digi, I got a TC, well, no, sorry, Top Shelf, Acro, bunch of frags over there. I have the red Acro here, not to mention chalices, which are not high flow, but definitely I haven't seen a problem. They have not had an issue. This chalice right here, or my jelly bean over in the corner, no issues with how high the flow is in here. That mushroom, a little bit. Blastos, people say they don't like flow. These guys are tumbling like all day. Do they like less light? I think that's mostly what it is, but oh, can't forget my Setosa in the back as well. So flow is super important. You want it to be coming from as many directions as you can, random, you know, tumbling, not the same pattern. So that's why I did it. And it's a good little pump. Hopefully they come in stock so that people can get them. I would recommend, like, if you were to do that pump and say by itself in this system, will probably be more than you'll ever need for like a mixed reef or whatever. Like even right now, it's literally turned down, not the furthest. The furthest you can go is 30%, but all I'm doing is a quick pulse that just goes across, and it kind of just hits the system with a different beat and path, and that's all it is. Corals look good. Polyps have definitely extended more, which I'm liking. I've seen a probably a little bit of an increase in my alkalinity being absorbed or uptaken, but nothing too crazy. I'm not going to say that like you put this in and your coral just going to start growing like crazy, but you know, it definitely helps. Especially with like stony corals, small polyp stony, some SPS stuff. You really want those polyps to be like tumbling, at least 90% of the polyps to be moving around and fluttering in the flow. But yeah, I'll leave it at that, and hopefully that's a good little review. Like I said, the controller is simple. It's got 5 different modes on it. It's got a feed mode as well, which it doesn't automatically turn back on. You'll have to turn it back on yourself. No times or anything, time of day stuff. It's just one mode for the whole day, and you set your percentage. Super easy, super simple. No crazy gadgets or anything like that. And I think that's one of the things that, you know, needs to be addressed on a lot of things, is that the gadgets are nice, you know, the apps are nice and all that, but in reality, you don't need it. Set it, forget it, let it do its thing, and just be happy. That being said, this system does have an Apex Junior on it. That's mostly for me when I'm not around the tank, but I'll also do a video on that in a later date, and that has, you know, is it needed? 100% no. It is not needed. Is it even, like, do you really need it if you're, like, leaving? No, you don't. Most of the time, these systems will do relatively good on their own if you can figure out what needs to be done before you leave. Usually do a water change before you ever go somewhere. I have an auto feeder on the system, so I'm never worried about the fish being fed. It's got an auto top off in it. Clean the auto top off if you run Kalkwasser, which I do. I clean my auto top off float switch probably once a month with vinegar. Let it sit in there. Takes care of everything. I've never had an issue, knock on wood, with my auto top offs. I use gravity for them, so I don't use a pump, so nothing can get like stuck on it. Just basically a mechanical float switch. That being said, people have had issues with them. People have had issues with electronic top offs. So it's one of those things that whatever works for you, do it. But when it comes to power heads, don't break the bank. Do not break the bank. These little power heads right here are very powerful for what they are. I mean, for $60, that one and that one are both $60 brand new. About the same, I think. And I'll tell you what, they push some water. And when you're comparing them to like Aqua Illumination or an Ecotech or anything like that, you want to get down to the nitty gritty. You don't want all the special stuff. Do they work? Do they flow? Do they flow a lot? Yeah. Am I gonna say they flow as much as like an Ecotech MP10? Heck no. But in this system with an MP10, you would never turn that MP10 up to 100%. Never. So take that with what it is. This is at 100%, but it's definitely does not need to be there for majority of people who are in the reef keeping hobby. You could put that on random mode and probably be perfectly fine. Never have an issue. Again, I do things very different than most people. I like a high flow system. Corals seem to like it. If you can get, you know, if you can clean them out with a turkey baster every once in a while, really blast the coral itself, the skin, you know, help it shed some of that slime if there is any on it. There's a lot of little things you just learn over the years, and I've had my fair share of tragedies, I guess you would say, when it comes to reef keeping. So keep an eye on those corals. if you start seeing like maybe something's going on, it could probably be, honestly, keep it simple. You know, have you done your water change? Have you done your maintenance? Have you cleaned your power heads so that they're working efficiently? Have you checked your water to see what your parameters are? And I'm not saying you have to chase numbers, because don't go chasing numbers. It will get you into trouble. But, you know, it gives you an idea of, are things doing what they're supposed to in the tank, you know? How did I go from, say, 0 phosphates to 0.5 phosphates? It's one of those things that just, you know, it's not a hard hobby, but you've got to be able to research and apply that research to the tank, I guess I would say. And the research for me has always been, you know, corals like flow. They like flow from all different sides, and that's why I went with this hygger. I probably could have went with just like another one of those over here, but I couldn't find one that was used, and the new ones were $60. I wasn't really wanting to spend $60. I was really wanting to spend less than 45, which I did on that one, but I still got a deal on it, so especially considering they're out of stock right now. That being said, I'll stop rambling on and let you guys get some shots of the tank. And like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you guys like my stuff. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.